MTP. Yes, Amna, what is MTP? Hiba, any idea? No. So let me tell you what is MTP. Basically, MTPs, and in the meantime, I want to tell you, in case if you are unable to listen me, in case if you are unable to write it down, whatever I am dictating, so you have to tell me in the on that point. So what is the medical termination of pregnancy? MTP. So actually, medical termination of pregnancy, MTP is basically in the vague term or in the layman language, we call it abortion. So MTP is basically abortion, medical termination of pregnancy. So previously it was not allowed and it was not legal, right? But in the later term, when government saw that there are some complications, then government allowed this medical termination of pregnancy. Nowadays, it is legalized. It is under government control. Nobody can go to the doctor directly for the MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, right? So medical termination of pregnancy is also known as induced abortion, right? So what is medical termination of pregnancy or induced abortion? During this time, when formation of a fetus or rather embryo in developed stage takes place in a female, there may be various reasons, right? There may be various reasons. There are the number of the reasons. That may be with the medical reason, that may be the social reason, that may be some other reason, right? So there may be the various reason. If it is logical, if it's logical, then the person can go for the medical termination of pregnancy. So medical termination of pregnancy, it is intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy. Means without the consent of female, you cannot go for the pregnancy termination, right? Why? Because 10 years back, the sex ratio of the India, 10 or 15 years back, the sex ratio of India was very low. So the basic reason was female feticide. So female feticide usually, illegally, in fact, the people used to go for the checking of the embryo during the time of the pregnancy, whether it is the fetus male or female. And if they come to know, most of the time, if they come to know that the fetus is female, they get it aborted, right? And that reduced the sex ratio of our country. And the major reason was there was illiteracy, right? So literacy was not there, right? So because of illiteracy, people used to go for the female feticide. When government came to know, then the government, the first law which government came with, that was the you cannot go for the sex detection. So what we call the process of sex detection in India, sex detection before the birth, that whether the fetus which is developing inside mother is male or female, if any doctor tell it, he or she will be penalized. If any person want to know it, he or she will be punished by the government, right? It is punishable offense today. So if if a person go to the doctor to come to know that whether developing the developing fetus is male or female, so what we call that process? Atif, what do we call that process?
Amniocentesis.
Amniocentesis, right? Amniocentesis is the process. I'll tell you what is amniocentesis in the last phase of this class. Amniocentesis is the process in which, with the help of some fluid called amniotic fluid, we detect the amniotic fluid and we come to know. So basically, amniotic fluid, or rather than basically amniocentesis is banned in our country. Next, MTP legalized in 1971, and government made a strict circulation or a strict condition to avoid the misuse. And it is considered the phase. This is the question for the medical examination. The second question: it is considered safe during the first trimester of the pregnancy up to 12 weeks. Right? Any person or any female go for the MTP up to the 12 week. After the 12 week, it is very dangerous for the female which is carrying the fetus, right? So please put the heading MTP, medical termination of pregnancy, and jot down. Medical termination of pregnancy is also known as medical termination of pregnancy, is also known as voluntary termination of pregnancy. Voluntary termination of pregnancy before the fetus become viable. Before the fetus become viable. Full stop. It is also known as induced abortion. Next point. The government of India legalized MTP. The government of India legalized MTP in 1971. But with some strict conditions to avoid misuse. Full stop. Such restrictions are necessary to check the female feticide. Check the female feticide. Next point. MTP is considered, MTP, underline this point, this is a question for your medical examination. MTP considered safe during the first trimester. MTP considered safe during the first trimester of pregnancy. That is up to 12 weeks. That is up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Full stop. One last line. Certain pills also act as abortion. Basically, during the medical termination of pregnancy, sometime at the initial stage, this is non-surgical. So doctor prescribes certain, when a female get pregnant, right, or got the pregnancy. So you must have gone through with the chapter, your first chapter, second chapter, I think. That was the human reproduction. Then the ovulation takes place and after the ovulation, means after the 14th day, at any time a female gets pregnant. So when a female gets pregnant, menstrual cycle stops. So what happened during the time of the induced termination of pregnancy or induced abortion? During that time, when pills are given to the female, actually the menstrual cycle restarts, and the implantation of the zygote got failed, and that's how the with the help of this menstrual outflow, the zygote goes out of the body, and this is the medical termination of pregnancy, or the MTP. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Amna, clear? Hiba, is that clear? Hiba, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
You are not audible to me, actually.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So Hiba, was you there in 11th class with me? in my class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me to have a vote. Just 1 second. Okay. So the next thing is the next thing is that sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. So what are the put the heading sexually transmitted disease, STDs, right? So let's discuss what are the STDs. Okay. Sexually transmitted. Uh, Actually, the sexually transmitted diseases are those diseases which spread from an infected person to non-infected person. Infected person can be male or female, whatever. So a sexually transmitted, like the person who already have a disease, and this disease is transferred to the another person during the time of the intercourse. So during the intercourse, infected person transfer this disease to non-infected person, and it is transferred by the sexual intercourse process, right? These diseases are called sexually transmitted disease. So STDs are also known as VD. They are called venereal disease, right? And sometimes we also call them RTI, reproductive tract infection, because STD actually at initial level, STDs infect the reproductive tract, right? So they all are the synonym of each other. Either you can call it STD, or you can call it venereal disease (VD), or you can call it RTI, reproductive tract infection, right? And the causal organism of a study, it may be bacteria, it may be virus, it may be chlamydomonas, and it may be protozoa, it may be nematodes, it may be fungi, and it may be any ectoparasite, right? So this is called STD. In STD, what you need to know, what you need to note down, you need to note down certain disease and the causal organism of those disease, right? So that is important for you. So please note it down. Put the heading sexually transmitted disease or STD. These diseases or infection are transmitted through these diseases or infection are transmitted through sexual intercourse during sexual sexual intercourse with infected person to healthy person. Full stop. STD are also known as venereal disease (VD). STD are also known as venereal disease (VD) or RTI, reproductive tract infection, or RTI, reproductive tract infection. Next point. The causal organism of STD, the causal organism of STD may be bacteria, viruses, clamidae, protozoa, nematodes, fungi, ectoparasite, or ectoparasite. What are the ectoparasite? By the way, Atif, what are the ectoparasite? Hiba, what are the ectoparasite? Tell me, please. Amna, what is ectoparasite? Guys, if you are like, if you have any ambiguity or confusion in any like point or any term, just feel free to ask me. Don't hesitate.
Sir, is it parasites that live outside the body?
Exactly, the parasite which live out, like lice, mosquito, leeches, they all are ectoparasite. Those parasites which live at the outer surface of the body or externally, they are called ectoparasite. And endoparasite are those parasites which live inside our body, like liver fluke. You must have gone through in the 11th class, platyhelminthes, like liver fluke, right? Tapeworm, they all live inside our body, so they are endoparasite. So parasites are basically two types on the basis of their nutrition mode. So they may be ectoparasite or they may be endoparasite. Endo means inside the body, ecto means outside of the body, right? Fine. So now I expect from you to please note it down these examples which are visible to you in your screen. So I'll read it out for you. So first, HIV and AIDS. So it is caused by a virus and known as human immunodeficiency virus. You will study this virus in detail, right? Even you must have studied this about this virus in your 11th class as well. But in 12th class, there is one more chapter, and that is a disease chapter, disease and all that, disease, drugs and all that. So we'll study this in detail. So I was going through a question. I got a question, and there was a question. Can anybody guess what should be the answer? I'll give you the option. Human immunodeficiency virus, HIV or AIDS. So AIDS virus or HIV virus, it have single stranded DNA, double stranded DNA, single stranded RNA, double stranded RNA. Anybody of you? What should be the correct answer? This was a question in medical exam. I just give you the glimpse of the questions so that you come to know from where the questions are coming in your medical examination when you go for the medical. Anybody of you? Hiba, Amna, and Atif?
Stranded RNA?
RNA, which one? Single or double stranded?
Single.
Single.
Not sure, sir, just a guess.
Yes, double stranded. Right. So this was a question in medical examination. So actually, the HIV, the thing which is common with the corona and this HIV, both viruses are similar in structure, right? Similar in structure. Next, gonorrhea. So the gonorrhea is caused by a bacteria known as Neisseria gonorrhea. That is a bacteria, right? So gonorrhea caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. It is a bacterial disease. Next one is syphilis. Syphilis. So syphilis is caused by Treponema pallidum. This is also a bacteria. Next one is hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is caused by hepatitis B virus. Scabies. It is caused by Sarcoptes scabies, that is ectoparasite. Next, genital herpes. Genital herpes is called by herpes simplex virus, right? So this is also a viral disease. Hepatitis B is also type of study, and it is also transferred by various mode. Even this is a transfer through the blood, transfer through the food, and all that, right? It's a very infectious kind of virus, and it directly attack on the liver as well, right? So please note it down. When you note it down, you please let me know. Jot down in your notebook. When you note it down, you have to let me know that you have noted it. And please keep it in mind, these are the frequently asked questions. Match the following, or directly they ask the question. It's very important for your 1 marker question, which you will get in your board examination. Done?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay, great. So no, put a note below this one. Note. Though all the persons are vulnerable to, though all the persons are vulnerable to steady, but it's very high among, but it's very high among in the age group, very high among in the age group of 15 to 24 years, but it's very high. So the chances of infection is very high between the people who lies to the 15 to 24 year. It's global data, not the data for any country, particular country. Right. Now, next the heading prevention. What are the prevention? So put the heading prevention. The same heading. So what are the prevention of the study? It is already given in your NCERT, right? And note it down, please. Prevention. First, one must avoid sex with unknown person, because that person may have STD, right? Next one, always use protection, always use protection during intercourse, always use protection during intercourse. Third one, in case of doubt, one must consult with, in case of doubt, one must consult with doctor or qualified doctor, right? So there are three ways of prevention. Clear? So go through with your NCERT, page number 63. So in case if you have any doubt in this complete paragraph or complete page in this topic study, please do ask me. Then we will move to the next topic. Done? Is it okay? Or any doubt?
Done.
Done? Great. Okay. So let's move in the next topic. So the next part is infertility, right? So let me tell you what is infertility. So infertility and so what is infertility and what is the reason behind infertility? So infertility, is it right? Is it limited to the transgenders only, or this topic covers something else as well? Any idea? Amna? Iba, any idea? Yes. Atif, any idea infertility? No.
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Be interactive. Right. So just I ask you to keep on you wake up, because in online class most of the students they feel sleepy or drowsiness. So I want you to like awake during this complete session. So infertility is, this is not limited to only transgender, right? Transgender means eunuch, those who are neither male nor female, so they are transgender. So they have partially developed sex organs, right? So they have both of the sex organ, right? So means testis as well as ovary. So both of the sex organs, and both are the undeveloped condition. So they are transgender. They are unable to produce their offspring or their babies. In the same time, this is not limited to them. That it's not like that only the transgenders are the infertile. Most of the time today, this percentage is increasing day by day because of the lifestyle and because of the changing in the climate, right? So it is becoming a like very severe problem in developed countries as well as developing countries. So what is happening nowadays? Many of the male and female, they got married, but they are unable to produce their child or their offspring. The reason behind it, sometimes the female is unable to produce ova. If it is able to produce ova, ova is not capable to, or ova is not fit for fertilization. If it is fit for fertilization, sometime implantation do not take place, right? So there may be the number of the reason due to for the female infertility, right? Sometime the males are unable to produce sufficient amount or sufficient quantity of sperm. If they are able to produce sperm, sperms are not motile. If sperms are motile, they are not they do not have potential to penetrate with the egg, right? So there may be various reasons. Sometimes the male and female both are able to produce their gamete, ova and egg, both interact, implantation takes place, but uterus is not fit for carrying baby, means it becomes hostile. So these are the reasons. Because of these reasons, there are certain parents or certain couples which are unable to produce their babies or offspring. This situation or this condition is called infertility. Yes, we use the term infertility for those people who are transgender or eunuch, but at the same time, this infertility, where what we are studying today, this means that like male and a normal male and female unable to produce their offspring because of these reasons which we discussed. So first, put the heading infertility. In all over the world, including India, in all over the world, including India, there are a large number of couples. There are a large number of couples which are infertile. That is, they are unable to they are unable to produce, they are unable to produce their children, they are unable to produce their children instead of, sorry, in spite of, in spite of normal sexual intercourse, in spite of normal sexual intercourse. Full stop. Such phenomena is termed as infertility. Such phenomena is termed as infertility. Next paragraph. The reason can be infertility of, the reason can be infertility of male as well as female. The reason can be infertility of male as well as female. Right? Now, if any person is or any couple is infertile, and they want to have a child, so there are various options in market. Various number of options. In previous days, when technology was not that much developed, medical science was backwarded, it was not that much developed across the globe. So on that time, what people used to do, they used to go an orphanage and they used to adopt a child, maybe girl or boy child, whatever they prefer. Every couple have their preferences. And on the basis of preferences, legally they adopt a child, right? They undergo with a process. It's a even today it's a not normal process. You cannot have a baby of anyone, like you cannot have a baby from any orphanage. Just go to an orphanage and have a baby. That is not a simple process. You have to go through with the legal process. By the legal and means, you can adopt a child, right? But you can adopt the child even today by legal process. But nowadays, but even in previous days, there was a like every person was want to have their own baby. So nowadays, if a person, if a couple is infertile and they want their own baby, they don't want to adopt from someone else's baby. So there are technology. Now the role of the technology comes to play over here, and technology helps the person to have their own baby, and this is called ART, assisted reproduction technology. Please put a heading: assisted reproduction technology, right? ART, right? Put a heading ART, assisted reproduction technology. So these are the technology list of the technology which I am going to tell you, I am going to discuss with you. First one is test tube baby. Have anybody of you, you must have while walking through the hospital or some commercial area, you must have seen IVF center. Have you seen that IVF center? Nowadays, where they are like medical shops. They're frequently, they are everywhere. All right, they are very prevalent. Have you seen anybody of you? Have you seen? IVF? No, no one. No one have encountered. Yes, Arif, haven't you seen that IVF centers? No, it's very common. Let me tell you. Test tube baby. Have you listened to test tube baby? Anyone of you? Amna, Hiba, test tube baby. Have you listened that?
Yes.
Yeah. So test tube baby is IVF only, right? So first thing is test tube baby. We also call it IVF, in vitro fertilization. Like, let me write it down here in the bracket. So test tube baby is also known as IVF. IVF, in vitro fertilization. Second one is GIFT, right? That is the GIFT, right? GIFT. That is gamete intrafallopian transfer, GIFT, and ICSI, that is intracytoplasmic sperm interaction, and AIT, artificial insemination technique, right? So these are the basic four process, and please try to understand these process. And in case if you are unable to get these process, please let me know. So first, put the heading: test tube baby or IVF, in vitro fertilization, right? Test tube baby or in vitro fertilization. So what is the in vitro? Look, if any process or reaction going on naturally, right? When egg and sperm meet naturally in fallopian tube of female, you must have studied in detail in your human reproductive process, right? So when a sperm and egg meet naturally, so we call that kind of the reaction in vivo, right? So that is the in vivo or in vivo. In vivo means that is taking place naturally. When this reaction takes place in test tube, we call it in vitro, right? So in vitro, any reaction is taking place in laboratory, that is called in vitro, and in vivo, any reaction is taking place in naturally. So that is. So IVF is an artificial process. That is the sperm and egg, they meet artificially, right? So they are called in vitro. So what exactly we do? We take the egg from in vitro fertilization. We take the egg from a female, right? And what is that female? That female may be like wife, or that may be donor female. So what is the donor female? Suppose that there is a couple and the couple is infertile. So what we do, what doctor do actually, not what we do, what doctor do actually. So doctor take a test tube. So what they take, either from the wife of a person, if a couple goes to a doctor and ask for the in vitro fertilization IVF. So they take the egg from the wife or donor. So what is the difference between two? Yes, there is a difference. So wife or donor, they give the egg, right? And egg is taken out. Generally 2 or 3 eggs are simultaneously taken out by the doctors, right? So they do not. Sometime what happened, a couple goes to the doctor and wife of that person is unable to produce egg. Now how the IVF is possible? So what she can do, she can take the egg from her friend, or she can give money to someone and take the egg from her. So she can take egg from anyone, right? So that will be the that person will be called donor. So that will be donor mother. So wife can be mother or donor can be mother. So any one of them can give the egg during the IVF process, right? And what happens? They take the sperm, right? So female like egg is surgically removed and it is fertilized with her again husband. So husband can give the sperm, or here if husband is unable to produce sperm, they can take the sperm from the donor. So they take the sperm from donor. Both sperm and egg both fuses inside a test tube, right? Both fuses inside test tube, means fusion takes place. After the fusion, formation of zygote takes place. Zygote is diploid structure, single cell structure. Digote diploid into embryo, right? Now what happened? Please try to understand complete process. Then you have to draw the diagram and I'll dictate for you. What happened? Egg is taken from the wife or donor. Sperm is taken from the husband or donor. Both are taken out from the body. In laboratory, under the artificial condition, both are fused. After fusing, zygote formation takes place. So first is that they can put this zygote in the womb of wife or fallopian tube of the wife, right? This is called GIFT, zygote intra-fallopian tube, intra-fallopian transfer, GIFT, right? So this zygote is allowed to divide up to 8 cells, and we caught that blastomer stage. You must have gone through with that. So up to 8 blastomer stage, it is put into fallopian tube. This process is called GIFT. So first process is that IVF can be done through the process of GIF. Second, it is allowed to divide more. Now it become embryo. Now, if embryo means after 8 cell stage, if it is put inside the fallopian tube or in the uterus, not fallopian tube, in the uterus after 8 cell stage, it is put in the uterus and it's more than 8 cell stage. This is called IUT, intrauterine transfer. So in GIFT, we transfer the embryo into the fallopian tube. In IUT, we transfer the embryo into zygote. That is the difference between two. So both are the process, they come under the IVF. Is it clear to all of you? Tell me guys, is it clear? Crystal clear or not? Hiba, Amna, please tell me. Atif?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I expect to draw this diagram, which I have drawn in the board. Please draw the diagram. Then I will explain you, dictate for you. And then you have to jot it down. In ART, the first heading is test tube baby or in vitro fertilization. Let me know when you note it down. Done?
Yes.
Okay, great. Please start noting down. First heading is test tube baby program or IVF. Sorry, IVF. Right? In IVF, when some women in IVF, when some women do not get conception, some women do not get conception normally. Because of blocked oviduct, because of blocked oviduct or spermicidal secretion, means the secretion which kills sperm, or spermicidal secretion in vagina, or low sperm count, Full stop. In all such cases, ovum from wife or donor female is removed surgically. Ovum from wife or donor female is removed surgically after hormonal stimulation of ovary. Full stop. It is then fertilized by her husband or donor male's sperm. Her husband or donor male's sperm in laboratory. Full stop. After the fertilization, it is transferred to wife through following process. First subheading, GIF, zygote, GIF and GIF, very frequently asked question. GIF, zygote, intra-fallopian transfer. That is the full form of GIF. Zygote, intra-fallopian transfer. If you have any doubt or any query in any words meaning, you are unable, I'll explain for you, but provided you have to tell me at that point, right? So GIF, zygote intra-fallopian transfer. In this process, zygote or early embryo in GIF. In this process, zygote or early embryo, which is up to 8 blastomer stage, underline the 8 blastomer stage, which is up to 8 blastomer stage, is transferred into fallopian tube of wife or mother. Full stop. Next subheading B, IUT, intrauterine transfer. IUT full form, intrauterine transfer. In IUT, when embryo is more than 8 blastomer stage, when embryo is more than 8 blastomer stage, it is transferred to uterus of wife or mother, and the process is called IUT. Next, so IUT, this all question have been asked in medical examination. Even they have been asked number of the time as a 2-marker question in board examination, right? So this complete topic, this one, MTP and these ERT, these are very important as for the short answers of your school examination, and even they are frequently asked question in medical examination. So both of the perspective, it is very important topic. So you don't have to miss the topic. In case if you have any doubt, please do ask. Don't hesitate to ask, right? Irrespective of how much simple is it, right? You need not to worry for that. If you are unable to get it, you ask me. I'll tell you hundreds of them, right? So don't hesitate to ask me. So first point is that first test tube baby was. So that was a girl baby. Even both of the test tube baby of the India and test tube baby of the world was both were the female, right? So the first test tube baby was it born in England, July 25, 1978, and it was a girl, and her name was Louise Joy Brown. Please note it down. The first test tube baby was born. First test tube baby was born in England, July 25, 1978. Full stop. It was a girl. It was a girl named. It was a girl named Louise Joy Brown. Louise Joy Brown. Right. So this was the MTP. Sorry, this was IVF. Right. So now come to the second topic. So first we discussed that was the first process. This was the IVF or test tube. Now GIF, right? Look, this is a GIF. We are going to study GIF, and please mind it. This was GIF, and now we are put the second entity, that is GIF, and the full form is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Right? From the name itself, you will come to know what exactly we are going to talk about. GIF. So the next subheading is GIF. Now, what happened in the GIF? Right? Gamete intrafallopian. Female cannot produce the ova, but its uterus is okay, and it is able to provide environment for development of embryo. So what happened that fertilization of our development that takes place on oviduct, ovum is taken from the donor and it is put in the uterus of female, right? Then the sperms are taken by the husband during copulation, during the natural process, right? During the intercourse, sperm are taken by the husband, and the ova get naturally fertilized. But ova do not belong to what? A particular person. Can you tell me what is the challenges between the IVF? Suppose that a couple have got a child through IVF, and they have taken they have taken this one ova from a donor and a sperm from a donor, right? They have taken ova and sperm from the donor. So what is the challenges is that? Is there any challenges? And the person they have got the baby taken the birth. Now is there any challenge? As you have gone through with the genetics, have you studied genetics? No. Atif, Hiba, genetics, have you gone through with that? Did you complete that chapter or not?
No, sir. In school, we are currently in that chapter.
School, okay. So what chapter you have completed in your class, this batch? Human reproduction?
Human reproduction and sexual reproduction in flowering plants.
Okay, sexual reproduction in flowering plant. Okay. So anybody of you have any idea about the DNA fingerprinting? Amna, please tell me. Any idea? Hiba, tell me. DNA fingerprinting, do you have any idea about that? Atif, any idea? DNA fingerprinting? No? Look. Suppose that my mother says, for example, like that, it's not like that, but yes, for example, suppose that my mother says that I am not her child. She denied, no, you are not my child. So can I prove it that she is my mother? She is telling lie. She is my mother. Yes, I have a chance. What? I'll go to the this one laboratory, right? So I'll go to laboratory for DNA fingerprint. What they will do? They will put my cell and they will tell me my DNA sequence. I'll put my mother cell and I will give them those laboratory. They will put my mother's DNA sequence. Now you know, if I am her child, 50% of my DNA sequence will match with my mother. So I can prove scientifically this. I am her son, right? So generally we are the child of our parent, right? So 50% my DNA will match with my mother, 50% of my DNA will match with my father, right? But in case of IVF, DNA fingerprinting is not possible. If that person want to prove that yes, she is my mother or he is my father, he or she won't be able to prove that through the DNA fingerprinting. Why? Because the DNA do not matches with their parent, because the sperm and ova have been taken from some different person. So that is the very challenging part. That is the only challenging part. However, this is a very a rare situation, but yes, that is possible. Technically, this is possible that a person cannot prove that he or she is his or her mother or father. Did you got my point? All of you got my
Yes,
point?
sir.
Okay. So now what is the gift? So female is unable to produce ova. Ova is put. It is she have taken the ova from her friend or someone else by giving the money. That ova have been put in fallopian tube. Now the sperm reaches to the fallopian tube by the natural process. Fertilization takes place. Then embryo implantation takes place, and uh, that's how they get the embryo and a fetus developed naturally. Then the rest of the process are natural. What do you have studied, right? So please note it down. Put the heading GIF. This method is used in the female. This method is used in the female who cannot produce ova, but can provide suitable environment, but can provide suitable environment for the fertilization and further development of embryo in oviduct. Full stop. In this case,
Sir, can you repeat the first one?
yeah, sure. In this method, the female who cannot produce ova, but they can provide suitable environment for the fertilization and further development of embryo in oviduct. Full stop. In these cases, ovum is taken by, in this case, ovum is taken from donor female and is surgically removed and then put into and is surgically removed and then put into the mother in mother's fallopian tube. Full stop. Such women then accept sperm. Such women then accept sperm from her husband during copulation. Is it clear?
Can you repeat that point?
Yes, please note it down. Such women then accept sperm from her husband during copulation. Is that clear? Just clear?
Yes.
Hiba, is it clear? Hiba and Amna, both of you? Are you getting every point? Okay. Hiba, what about you? Getting every point? Fine. Okay. So now put this third heading, ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection. What actually here we do, let me tell you, we take a ovum in laboratory and we directly, with the help of some that was syringe and machines, we directly transfer this sperm into the ova, like, right? So we do this process mechanically, right? So sperm is directly injected into ovum, artificial, right? And then zygote or early embryo is transferred to the woman with the help of GIF or IUT, right? Then we transfer it, right? So here you also use the process of GIF, right? And this is the intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI, right? Also in ICSI, this is the technique where the sperm may be taken from the same wife or donor, and the egg is sperm taken from the husband or donor, or even egg taken from the husband or donor. So both of the things are possible, right? So please note it down. This is the another specialized technique in which sperm is directly injected. Sperm is directly injected into the ovum, which is placed in nutrient medium. Full stop. The zygote or early embryo, is later transferred to the woman. Zygote or early embryo is later transferred to the woman through GIFT, ZIFT, through GIFT. Fine. Now the fourth process, artificial insemination, right? So that is the AIT, artificial insemination technique, AIT. This is AIT. So what is the AIT? Artificial insemination technique. Here, when husband is unable to inseminate or it have low sperm count, either it is unable to deliver the sperm or the number of sperm are less, or so the sperms are taken out from the husband or donor male. Which is the better option? Whatever the better option, it is taken from both of them. It is collected in some particular equipment and then artificially it is transferred to the vagina or uterus of the female, because here the female is potent enough, it is capable enough to handle the zygote or implantation, or uterus is suitable for, but here the deficiency lies to the husband. Then we use this technique, artificial insemination technique, right? So please start noting down. This technique is used to those female. This technique is used to those female where husband is either unable to inseminate the female, unable to inseminate the female, or very low sperm count in ejaculate. Full stop. In such cases, the semen of husband or donor male is first collected and then artificially introduced either into vagina or into uterus of female. Full stop. So these are all technique. These all technique have been mentioned in 64, page number 64 of your NCRT. Please go through with this page, and then please let me know if you have any confusion in any point, any line, any heading. Then we will go ahead, and I'll tell you the aminocentesis. That is one more thing which I have not barely discussed over here. So I'll tell you that thing. Go through with this page and let me know, please. And okay, fine. Go through with this page and let me know, and then tell me, is it okay or not? Can you complete with NCERT? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, done. Okay. So the last heading, that is amniocentesis. Amniocentesis. What is the amniocentesis? So we were discussing this is the process. So amniocentesis when pregnancy takes place and at the 14th or 15th week of the pregnancy, then formation of the placenta takes place, right? Placenta formation takes place. And now at this time, we detect the heartbeat of child, right? Heartbeat is start at this point of time, right? 15 week, 14 week. So heartbeat is starting in child, right? And then placenta formation takes place. And then with the help of sonography, right? High wave frequency, with the help of sonography, we come to know health of the fetus and all that. During this time, with the help of a syringe or a catheter, right? Catheter is a plastic kind of the needle, and with the help of syringe, we take out some fluid that is called amniotic fluid, right? So with the help of that syringe or catheter, we take out the fluid that is called amniotic fluid. Amniotic. So we take out the amniotic fluid. These amniotic fluid have some hormones, it have nutrition, it have some cells. So then we detect the amniotic fluid, or we analyze the amniotic fluid. And with the help of amniotic fluid, amniocentesis is not only the process to come to know the sex of child, not only the sex of the child. Yes, we do come to know also the sex of the child. Along with the sex of the child, we come to know, is any person have chromosomal abnormality like Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome. We come to know with all of these things. This complete process to come to know the sex of the child, to come to know the health of the child, to come to know the any syndrome or deficiency of the child. This all process called amniocentesis. Is it clear? Please note it down. Amniocentesis. At the early stage of pregnancy, that is at the early stage of pregnancy, that is 14th or 15th week,
Sir, can you repeat the
at the early stage of pregnancy, at the early stage of pregnancy, that is 14th or 15th week, the location of fetus and the location of fetus and placenta, the location of fetus and placenta is determined by sonography. Full stop. Next point. The small amount of amniotic fluid is taken out with the help of a special surgical needle. Full stop. The fluid is examined. And the fluid is examined for chromosomal abnormality. The fluid is examined for chromosomal abnormality like Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, full stop. The same fluid is also used for the detection of the sex of fetus. Full stop. So amniocentesis is banned in some country, and it is not banned in many of the countries. Like even today, America, Canada, and many of the European country, the doctor tells that the sex of the child, that it's male or female, because literacy is at high amount over there. But the countries which are developing countries, where in many countries the amniocentesis is banned, like in India it is banned, right? So where the literacy is not at that much far, so to prevent the female feticide, it is banned most of the part, right? So this was all about this chapter. In case if you have any doubt, any query regarding this chapter, please ask.
No, sir, no.
No. Hiba, did you got all point? Hiba, Amna, did you got all point?
Yes.
Fine. Amna, what about you? Everything is crystal clear? Fine. So that's it for the day. And this chapter is completed. And in the next class, we'll do something different chapter, like the next chapter. So what else you did at your school? So what chapter is going on in your school? Amna, Hiba, Atif, all of you.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have, since the portion is very high, we have two teachers teaching like two different chapters at the same time. So the
Okay.
chapters that are going on principles of inheritance and variation and reproductive health.
Okay. And what about you, Amna and Hiba? What about at your school?
Same.
Same. Okay. Fine. So no issue, right? Either sir or me, like whatever the situation will be, we'll be taking, right? So see you next class. Fine. Hope you must have got each and everything. I tried my best, so you won't feel uncomfortable. Right. So go through with these chapters, right? These all topics, whatever we have studied today or previously. And in case if you have any doubt, you are most welcome with me or sir in next class, right? Fine. So bye bye.
Yes,
Take care. Yeah. Bye bye. Take care.
thank you, sir.
Yeah. Welcome. Hello, Aisha. Am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, what you did in your class first, I would like to know. So, in biology,
We finished first chapter.
first chapter means living world.
No. Cell the unit of life.
Cell the unit of life. Right,
Uh,
right. So, what do you want to study in demo class? Do you want to go through the cell living world or cell the unit of life?
Cell the unit of life.
Fine. So we'll start with that. Today we are it's just demo class. So we'll do it for 30 minutes, and in the next class from the regular class, we'll do it regularly 1.5 hours. Right. So let's start with the cell the unit of life. Fine. Okay. So Aisha, as we know that there are two kinds of the cell, and a cell is called the structural as well as the functional unit of the life. Right. So why we call it structural? Why we call it functional unit? Why we
Uh,
call it functional unit?
it performs different functions.
It performs different functions. Rather than saying being a precise, so I would like to say that all the functions which takes place inside our body, actually those functions are not taking place only in our body. Rather, these functions are taking inside our cell. Let's take example. Suppose that we say that we require nutrition, means body require nutrition. Actually, body require nutrition because cell require nutrition, right? We eat food, right? We take the sugar, means carbohydrate, we take the protein, we take the fat, and we take some other vitamins and minerals. All these content, like for sake of example, as a food we always consider carbohydrate. So this is the cell which require actually carbohydrate. We eat bread, it goes inside our stomach, got digested in intestine, got digested, then carbohydrate is absorbed by blood. Finally the blood distribute this carbohydrate to every cell, because this cell require the carbohydrate. And why it require carbohydrate, why it require the nutrition? To operate or to carry on reactions going inside its body to generate the energy, right? In the same time, if we say that we respire or respiration is taking place in our body, so precisely, actually why body is respiring, because the respiration is taking place inside the cell, right? The Krebs cycle is going on, the breakage of the food is going on, hence respiration is going on. So all the reactions which is going on inside our body, actually these reactions are going on inside our cell. So that's why all the functions of body are actually, or finally, they are going inside our cell. Hence we call it the functional unit. So it makes the structure, hence we call it the structural unit. We all the functions go inside the cell, hence we call it structural unit as well, and the functional unit as well, right? So this study of the cell is called cytology, and it's a structural and functional unit. And the Robert Hooke discovered the cell first time. So was he biologist? Robert Hooke was his biologist, or someone else was the biologist who discovered the cell first time? And one more question, I always have a doubt, Isa. Uh, we call our phone cell phone, right? We call this cell, right?
Yes.
The jail where the prisoners are put, we also call that thing cell.
Yes.
And they all have the same spelling, same pronunciation. So, am I correct?
Yes.
So, is there any logic behind it?
I guess.
Yeah, please tell me.
I don't know.
You don't know. So let me tell you, there is a logic behind it. Actually, this is logically, this is the cell. So, Robert Hooke, first thing which I want to tell you, and please, you have to note it down in the meantime. So, Aisa, are you planning for the medical examination as well? Will you appear in medical examination after 12? Are you planning for that?
Maybe. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
not sure, right? So, in the meantime, I'll keep on telling you that what kind of the questions are being asked in medical examination, and in between this topic, we'll go through the NCRT, right? I'll take care of the NCERT. We'll follow the pattern of NCERT. We'll follow each paragraph and every line of the NCERT. Along with the NCERT, I'll keep on telling you from where the questions come in your medical examination. So in case if you plan for it, you'll be more comfortable and you'll be more confident, right? So actually, the Robert Hooke was not a scientist of biology. He was a not at all biologist. Robert Hooke was a scientist of physics. He was a physicist. And in 1965, Robert Hooke was actually trying to make a microscope. Right? He was working on lenses, was trying to make a microscope. During the microscope, while testing his lenses, he saw a cork. That is, you must have seen a cork dot or a cork stopper is put on the like in older time it used to be put in the neck of the bottle, and even today traditionally it comes at the neck of the champagne bottle, right? So that is the cork. So he cut down a cork, and while he saw something vacant structure which looked like honeycomb. Actually, CELL, cell means a vacant room. This is a Latin term. Cell means a vacant room, you know. So when Robert Hooke saw the cell structure, it looked like that cell where prisoners are put, right? So he given the term cell. So the cell term was given by Robert Hooke only, and he written a book, Micrographia. What you need to remember, that is the name of this book, Micrographia. In Micrographia, he mentioned this term cell. Micrographia was book 1965, written by Robert Hooke. And Robert Hooke was the actually first person who saw the cell. But he was not a biologist. He did not saw a living cell. He saw just a cell. After that, there was a person. His name was Antony von Leeuwenhoek. This was in 1973. So long back story. So after 1965, in 1973, there was a person. His name was Leeuwenhoek, and he saw a living cell. So first thing, the cell means a vacant room. He saw a vacant structure, so given the term cell. So that's why cell means a jail or like a room where prisoners are kept. So both are the same. Now, why you call this phone as a cell phone? Yes, there is a correlation. Actually, your country have been divided. These structures, this kind of the structures, and these structures are like cell, right? This is your main tower of city, and these are a small tower you must have seen in your building, your neighboring building, or somewhere else. Yes, you must have seen. So these are small town. These are a small tower on the buildings. This is the main tower of city. Whenever you roam around this, it is like cell, and your cellular phone that catches the signal. This small tower catches the signal, and they send signal to this main tower. So your country have been divided in these cells. So that's why your phone is called cell, right? So that is the technical logic behind it. Cell means vacant room, Latin term. Robert Hooke given this term, and he discovered dead cells. What you need to keep in your mind, he discovered the cell, but he was not a biologist, and that was not living cell. He saw a dead cell. In 1973, Antony von Leeuwenhoek, he was the first person who saw a living cell, like bacteria and all that. So study of cell is called cytology. Cell is a structural and functional unit. And before the cell, like what was that living organism of this world? When life arises in this earth, there was a structure, and that was a precursor, primitive structure. We called it a probiont. Probiont was not a cell. So if someone asks you that what was the living structure of this world, first living structure of the world, this was probiont. From the probiont, formation of cell take place. So the first actual cell of the world was prokaryotic. It is also a Latin term. Pro means primitive, and karyon word means nucleus. Karyon means nucleus. So the cell which have old nucleus, that is called prokaryotic cell, right? And the cell which have new nucleus, then after the millions of years, the modern cell arise. They are the eukaryotic cell. Eu word, it is also a Latin term. If we break the term eukaryotic, eu word means new and karyotic means nucleus. So the cells having new nucleus all called eukaryotic, and the cells having the old nucleus called prokaryotic. So there are in this world only two kinds of cell, eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Is that clear? Did you got
Yes.
all the story? So first you need to note it down. The precursor of the cell is probiont, right? We'll study in 12th class what is the probiont in detail. So in the meantime, so prokaryotic cell arises from probiont. Now that was the something, and the largest cell, the longest cell. So please start jotting down along with that, this, right? Please note it down. In 1965, Robert Hooke wrote a book. In 1965, Robert Hooke wrote a book with name Micrographia, where he mentioned cell. Full stop.
Micrographia.
Micrographia, where he described this cell. Full stop. In the same point. He saw dead cells. He saw dead cells in various objects. Next one. These are the one marker question you will get in your school examination. One marker question. All these questions will be like this one. Next one. In 1973, this point. In 1973, Leeuwenhoek, Leeuwenhoek, Leeuwenhoek was the first scientist to observe. Living cell full stop. He observed bacteria, protozoa, RBC, etc. etc. Right? So he observed all these kind of cells, right? So this was something like basic concept. Next point. There are only two cells in this world, or two type of the cells in this world. There are only two type of cells in this world. Eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Eukaryotic and prokaryotic. And please mention what are the prokaryotic and eukaryotic. You can mention over here. Like pro means old, means primitive. Karyon means nucleus. Eu means new, and karyon means new. Now the next point, that is the what is the cell theory, right? What is cell theory? So let me tell you what is the cell theory. Cell theory was a theory which was put forward by some scientists. Previously, it was not known that there is a cell, right? So there were two scientists who given the some concept that everything is made up of cell and all that, right? We'll discuss all those points. What are the those points? Before going into that, I want to know one question from your end. You know, when I ask that, I want to ask one question from your end. It doesn't mean that I am checking your knowledge. Actually, it means that I want to keep you awake during this complete session. That should be interactive, right? So one question. Okay, Aisha, try to tell me. What can I call virus? Can I call it prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, or bacterial cell, or acellular? Bacterial cell, acellular, eukaryotic cell, or prokaryotic? What should I call it?
I guess virus is not a cell.
Very good, excellent. Virus is not a cell. So what should I use the term for it?
Sorry.
What should I, or out of these 4 options, what should be the correct option? I've given 4 options to you here in the screen.
It's not a cell. Acellular.
Very good, excellent. That is the answer only. Acellular means which is not a cell. So if someone is like using the term cell for virus, it is completely wrong notation. If someone is using organism term for virus, it is also completely wrong. Virus is neither organism nor a cell. Virus have, you will, if whenever you will go through the classification system and go through with any biology book from the 11th class, or rather than from the 9th class to the PhD, any book in biological classification, you will not find virus, because virus is not a living organism. The classification describe only living organism, and virus is not a living organism. So virus is not a cell, right? So the exact term, this is a acellular, right? So this is acellular, means, please note it down. Virus is a acellular structure. Virus is a acellular structure which is made up of protein and genetic material. Full stop. It's not a cell. So virus is not a cell. Other than virus, all biological entity are made up of cell. Other than virus, right? The complete body, yeah.
So what is a virus actually?
Virus is a structure. We use the term, it is a acellular structure. So a structure, this is made up of 2 things. First, protein, and second, genetic material. So genetic material may be, so you can say there is a box which is made up of protein. Inside that box, there is some thread-like structure that may be either DNA or RNA, nothing else. Either DNA or both cannot be in the same time. A virus may be either made up of DNA or RNA, like HIV. Outer cover is made up of what? Outer cover is made up of protein, and inside there is a RNA. Coronavirus. Outer cover is, outer box is made up of protein. Inside there is a thread, that is DNA, right? So viruses are structure. They are not cells. Clear, Aisha?
Yes.
Fine. So next, come to the cell theory. There were 2 scientists who given this theory separately, right? So the first scientist was Theodore Schwann. So both given their concept separately. Both were neither friend, both were not working on the same laboratory. They were working differently in different laboratory, and they given the concept, right? So Theodore Schwann in 1838, he was actually working with animals, right? So while working with animal, he encountered cell. So he worked in animals, and in animals he given cell theory, right? So he was a German zoologist. Actually, he was an animal scientist, zoologist, right? In the same time period, 1838, there was a person, his name was Schleiden, right? So Schleiden in 38, actually he was a botanist, right? He was working on plant, right? So he given cell hypothesis. He was a botanist, right? So both given cell theory separately. Both represented their paper. When they represented their paper, they got the Nobel Prize simultaneously. So they shared the Nobel Prize, because both of the person have given same concept, but both of the person have given same concept different at different places and on different organism. One in plant, one in animal. So both of the paper, when the paper of both of the scientists were merged, then a theory came in the picture, and we call that theory cell, right? Is that clear? So in 1839, formulated cell theory. So the research paper of both of the scientists, Schleiden and Schwann, in 1839, both were merged and formulated a cell theory. So we can say cell theory is a combined effort of, or like combined paper of both of the scientists, Schleiden and Schwann. Clear?
Yes.
There is a very popular statement, and there is a very important statement which have been asked a number of times in different examination. The concept is that, or rather the concept we can say, the notion is that omnis cellula e cellula, right? So there is a term omnis cellula e cellula. What is that? This is like Latin. So omnis cellula e cellula means new cells arise from pre-existing cells. Means life cells, new cells come from older cells, right? Older cell divide and give rise to new cells. This statement was given by Robert Virchow. Please note it down. Omnis cellula e cellula. I have written over here. Please note it down. It's very important. Make a star. Omnis cellula e cellula. That is new cells arise from pre-existing cells. New cells arise from pre-existing cells. Full stop. The statement was given by Rudolf Virchow. The statement was given by Rudolf Virchow in 1855. Rudolf Virchow in 1855. Next one. Slyden and Swan compared their finding. Slyden and Swan compared their finding in 1839 and formulated a cell theory in their joint paper. Full stop. Slyden was a botanist and Swan was a zoologist. Both formulated theory separately in the same year. Both formulated theory separately in the same year, 1838. Next, put heading fundamental feature of cell theory. This is very important for your school examination. You can get this question with a weightage of 3 marks, right? So this concept, like who given this concept, omnis cellula cellula, 1 marker question. Who discovered the living cell, 1 marker question. Who discovered the cell first time, 1 marker question. But these kindly describe the cell theory of Slyden and Swan. So this is a 3 marker question. Definitely you will get, this is very important for your school examination. So cell theory. So what are the fundamental, what are the main feature of the cell theory? What they described in cell theory? What they stated in cell theory? So first I will describe for you. Then you have to jot it down, right, Aisha? So first, all the living organisms are made up of cell and their product. Yes, that's very true. Either it's bacteria, protozoa, plant, animal, fungi, or anything. They all are either made up of single cell or more than one cell, right? They are made up of cell and their product. How the cell, product of cell? Any idea? Can you tell me any organism which is made up of product of cell?
Muscle cell.
Muscle cell, yes, very good. Muscle cell. Muscular cell, not muscular cell, muscles. Muscles means?
Muscle.
You knew pila? Do you know that organism?
No.
They have hard shells. They have hard cells. What to say? Unio pila means have you gone through with that the calcium shells found in in sea beaches? Have you seen that calcium
Yes,
shells?
yes. Yeah.
So they are also called, actually they are union. Yeah. Just let me tell you. Pearl, oyster pearl, where we get the pearl. Those are the oysters, right? Their outer covering is made up of calcium carbonate. It's very hard covering. Inside there is a muscular animal, right? So that hard covering of calcium carbonate is product of cell. That calcium carbonate is secreted by cells. Got it? Got my point?
Yes.
So their body is made up of product of cells. In the same time, tortoise. So tortoise have hard covering of keratin, outer hard shell of keratin, right? That hard shell of keratin is made up of, even our body. These nails are product of cells. They are dead. They are product of cells, right? So all living organism, either they are here, they are product of cells, right? So all living organism either made up of cells or living cells. That is true. Second concept, a small mass of protoplast, nucleus, and cell membrane is bound in every cell. That is true. Every cell have, definitely every cell have cell membrane, nucleus, and protoplast. Third point, all the cells are alike chemically and physiologically. That is very true. Either our cell or plant cell, they all have nucleus, all have protoplasm, all have mitochondria. Same type of the reactions goes inside the cells, right? And the fourth one, that activities or of organism are the sum total of activities of the cells. That is true. Just before the starting of class, I said that if we take nutrition, means the cell is taking nutrition. If we respire, means the cell is respiring, right? So these are the basic concepts. So please start noting down. Fundamental feature of cell. First point, all the living organism are composed of cell and their product. All the living organisms are composed of cell and their product. Second point, each cell is made up of they observed in plant, animal, everywhere. Each cell is made up of mass of protoplast. Each cell is made up of mass of protoplast, comma, nucleus, plasma membrane, or cell membrane. Third point, all cells are basically alike. All cells are basically alike in their chemistry and physiology. Chemistry means chemical composition, and physiology means that is reactions and processes that goes inside cell, right? Physiology means like digestion is a physiology, part of physiology, respiration is part of physiology, transportation is part of physiology, right? They all are physiological process, right? Next point, Raj. Activities of organism. Fourth point, activities of organism are the sum total of activities of organism are the sum total of activities of its constituent cell. right? Now there are some factual things. Is it clear, cell theory? Is it clear to you, Aisha? Tell me.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So keep NCERT along with you. It have been given in page number 126, 126 and 125, right? And there are some factual things. So which is the smallest cell? Mycoplasma.
Mycoplasma. Yes.
So mycoplasma is also known as, sometimes you won't get the option mycoplasma, PPLO. So what is the PPLO? So mycoplasma is the smallest cell. It is a bacterial cell, and previously we used to know pleuropneumonia-like organism, PPLO. And the size of cell is 0.14 micrometer to 0.5 micrometer, right? So PPLO is the smallest cell, and when I will teach you the classification system, we'll study it in Monera. So that is the full form is pleuropneumonia-like organism. So that is the full form of PPLO, right? It's a bacterial cell. It should have like this kind of the shape, and it do not have any cell wall and all. So the size is 0.1 micrometer to 0.5 micrometer. The size of bacterial cell is 3 to 5 micrometer, is larger. Now the largest, yeah.
How is that micrometer written?
Micrometer, okay, mu m. This is
Mu m.
Micrometer. Micrometer. The symbol is micrometer. Is this is mu, and mu m. That is micrometer, and
Okay.
1 micrometer is equal to 10 to power minus 6 meter, right? Micrometer. So we measure all the organism in micrometer. So that's why we call microscope, because microscope is capable of zooming organism. It can see the organism which have the their diameter or length of 10 to power minus 6. You know, our naked eye, how smaller eye we can see with the naked eye. So they are very capable. They have a great capability, but you can't see beyond 10 to power minus 4. Beyond 10 to power minus 4. So what is the capability of our human eye? 10 to power minus 4 meter. We cannot see less than that, right? So if any organism in 10 to power minus 5, minus 6, so we require the microscope. We can see with the help of microscope, right? That's why that is called microscope. An electron microscope, they have very high resolution. They can see 10 to power minus 16, 10 to power minus 15 and all, right? Okay. So one more thing. That is the longest human cell is nerve cell. Nerve cell. Nerve cell.
Nerve cell.
Yeah, that is the nerve cell. So that is the neurons, right? And it may be up to 90 centimeters. I'll tell you in when I'll teach you physiology and nervous system. Actually, this is the only single nerve which is in our body, that is called sciatic nerve. It is found in our leg or thigh part, and this is the longest nerve of our body. In a human, it can be up to 90 centimeter long, single cell. That is the longest cell. But if someone asks you what is the largest cell, then the answer will be ostrich egg. And the dimension of ostrich egg is 170 millimeter to 150 millimeter, right? So please note it down these facts. Important.
That is 170 millimeter into 150 millimeter.
Right. Ostrich egg. This is the largest egg. 170 millimeter dimension, that is the length, and 150 millimeter, that is the width.
Okay, then.
Fine. So I said next class we'll study. Today it was just an introductory class. Just I want to show that how we are going to teach you, right? Like in next class, because there is some other classes as well. So next class we'll study more about the cell, and I'll tell you what is the bacterial cell, and what is the cell wall, what is the bacteria, and how does they look like. So in the structure of cell, we'll discuss in detail the bacterial cell, right, and all that. So, right.
How long is that class? I mean, what's the duration?
That will be 1.5 hours. So today was just an introductory class, and there are more sessions after this class. So we do not have time. Actually, I have to take other class as well, right? So we have a very small time slot today. So next class we'll study this prokaryotic cell structure, and regular class will be 1.5 hours, right?
Okay.
Okay, Asa. So did you got all point? All point?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that's how we are going to study.